What is up, everybody? This right here is Killer K-Rail, and to my right is my good friend, internationally known film producer Doug Orchard, who's in town visiting. So, Doug and I are gonna talk some smack in a couple minutes. We're gonna keep this short and sweet, but first, I brought some gatas out to the park, and we're gonna swing some gatas. So, you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna swing some gatas. We'll be right back. Right down the back. Okay, ready? Let's go to the left. That's it.
Oh, okay.
All right, we'll start rack position. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Park it to the right. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Park it. Nice. That's how it's done. Okay, everybody. That was our movement break for the day. Actually, that was our second workout of the day. Now, Doug and I have been chatting all morning long about such topics as fasting, as food, as mTOR pathways, and stuff that's gonna be way over your head. So we're not gonna talk about things that are over your head. But I wanna talk about one thing, Doug. I wanna talk about the motivation factor.
Yeah, let's do it.
If any of you have not seen the movie, The Motivation Factor, I highly suggest you go and watch it tonight. It is one of the most brilliant documentaries, not just because I'm in it, but one of the most brilliant documentaries I've ever seen, and here's one of the big reasons why. One of the major problems that we're having right now is racial equality across America and across the country and the world. Doug produced this film back in 2016, right?
2017 September it came out, but it was a 4.5-year project leading up to that moment.
Right. So what Doug recognized all the way back then was how the medium of fitness and exercise, especially in like a gym format or a group setting format, such as playing team sports, all the racial boundaries absolutely disappeared. This is actually chronicled in the movie, which absolutely is my favorite part of the movie. It's not even my part. But I want you to expand a little bit on what was the motivation for that when you started digging for research and all this.
Yeah, so I met you and Ron Jones, introduced this idea to me. So this was not a Doug Orchard idea. And
He's being modest.
We looked at the history and found that when John F. Kennedy was president, he had two things he was doing. One, he was going to desegregate schools, and second, he was instituting Medicare. Medicare today is slotted to bankrupt our country. Within 50 years, the economists have said that it will take up the entire national budget. John F. Kennedy, in his speech, asked the elderly to exercise, to devote specific time every day.
I do remember that.
The other part of that speech was for the youth, and that was because he was going to desegregate schools, and he was a student of history and understood classically the role classical physical education created unity. And he found a school called La Sierra High in Carmichael, California, which is no longer, but back in the day, it had structured its students in teams to progress from level to level in physical fitness abilities. And so the goal was to get your entire team to progress to the next level. And the end result is it created the kind of unity that we all have experienced, those of us who ever participated in a sports team.
Right on.
So John F. Kennedy saw that as a way to unify the races. So if they're all in a team situation, and we're not talking about just the athletes that have that privilege to be able to do that and experience that unity among races, but now we're talking about everybody who's participating in school, all of them, the whole nation. Imagine if we actually did that as a nation. This was 1962,
right?
It's 2020. I would like to suggest that a lot of the problems we're experiencing today would not have happened, would not be happening. And so when we look forward and say, well, what do we need to do to really fix those individuals who have a problem with race? Okay, so thankfully it's not everybody in our country, but for those who have that problem, we saw the motivation factor as a brilliant idea that a president saw that unfortunately ended the day he was killed. It was never continued. And but we found a school, Prescott PE, a middle school, that started doing it.
They had a fabulous program out there.
And they have never stopped. They're in Modesto, California.
Yeah.
They're interracial, the whole gamut in economics there. Kids who are homeless to kids who are living in a country club. Every race, everybody's a team. They're all for one for all. They say they have this motto, leave no man behind. And
absolutely brilliant. It's brilliant. I've always said
it works.
Yeah, you know, and like one of the things I said in the movie actually was how I noticed that same mixture of people would come to my classes that I used to do live, the Six Pack Challenge live classes, and I would have all kinds of people from different races, sizes, genders, everything, and there was never any finger pointing, there was never any judgment, there was never anything. They just wanted to survive the class, and they became quick friends afterward, and it was never about the color of anybody's skin or their religion or anything like that. And Doug goes really deep into the weeds with this in film, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And it's interesting that, you know, you did this several years ago, and then all of a sudden now, just like I feel like the quarantine and the coronavirus is super relevant to my life the way it was before as a minimalist, and everyone was like scrambling when it started, and I just kind of like, I just stepped right into it like nothing ever happened because my life didn't change much. But it's so relevant now that we look at little things like this that can change the nation and the whole scope of everyone's mentality across the whole world. And I think the motivation factor has the ability to do that through the medium of fitness and exercise.
It's a lingua franca that we still have today. I mean, we can't really unify behind a religion or all the things that historically some nations or dictators would force everyone to unify behind. But physical exercise together, it's still something we can all do. The challenge we face right now, of course, is with the pandemic, our schools are going the other way. They want to actually remove PE. Although it's most of PE
now it's like there is no school.
Most of PE that they're cutting, you can probably cut without a consequence.
Pretty much.
What we really want is classical physical education back. Probably need to come up with a new word for it now.
Physical, I think, first period, every single day in school should be called physical literacy.
That's what I was going to say. PL, there we go.
PL, physical literacy, and they should be taught the benefits of exercise more beyond like, look at my guns and my muscles, but like the whole scope of it. And then study the deep roots of Jack LaLanne and classical history and the Romans and you know, how meals and goddess were created and why and all those kind of things.
How to care for your body so that you're a happy person, you're a healthy person. We saw that since the pandemic started, there was the physician in the San Francisco Bay Area who saw at his hospital the number of attempted suicides equal what normally happens in 12 months. He saw that in 1 month.
Yeah, it's shocking.
And so what happens is when you aren't getting out there and really exercising daily, your brain is being robbed of the nutrients it needs to function effectively and to do it well. And so we could try to placate it with medication and drugs, but then those have to be increased. The receptors, it's just the way that works. And so, but it doesn't work that way with exercise. Like you can keep getting what you need by basic exercise. You don't have to go crazy, and you don't have to eventually get to the point you're doing 8 hours a day to just get that physical runner's high. You can still handle it in 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so teaching people how to care for their bodies the right way. That's the motivation factor. And physical education used to be what Greece spent half of their education time on. And it was recommended in America in the 1800s that we spend 1/3 of our time on it. And you know, we're doing a horrible job. We just really
call
are.
a spade a spade.
So now's the moment, though. Now is
the time. I've been saying that since Corona. Everyone's getting this crazy quarantine 15, they're calling it, 15 pounds of weight gain, like the freshman 15 going to college, and everyone's habits have gone the opposite direction. And I keep harping on all these lives I do that now is the time to step forward and go outside for 10 minutes. I'm here 10 minutes. Doug and I are doing 4 key things right now. They're biohacking our systems and improving our brain function and boosting our immune systems. We're barefoot, we're earthing. We're getting sun, vitamin D is being released. We're doing cross-body patterns back there with those gadas, and we're doing complex movement at the same time.
That's pretty impressive. Like, you just rattle those all off, figure that all right fast.
Well, it's committed to memory. I try to get that in my life every single day because I do biohacking, and I'm always trying to give advice to people to do things like that. And that's all it takes. And we're hanging out together too. So we have eye contact. We're not social distancing because I know I don't have a coronavirus. He knows he doesn't have it, and I don't care.
Well, we're outside too.
We're outside too.
And the wind's blowing really this way. So for those who are really concerned, you should know that also is happening.
Yeah.
But hey, we could solve a lot of problems. Our kids, they could have desks outside. They could be exercising
that's a great
outside.
idea.
That's what we did before in history.
Yeah.
People, when these things happened, tuberculosis and what happened in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So we could do this, but the reality is there's an opportunity, there's a moment right now that we are living the consequence of not doing it correctly. And these are get down to fundamentals. I mean, like in a sport, the fundamentals are what matters. You practice the fundamentals. We've lost our fundamentals.
Master the basics.
We have to teach people how to care for their body, and the immune system matters. Our body's brain matters, and our interest in other people matters, and all those actually play a key role when we're out there exercising correctly, rationally training our bodies in a way that's free of pain and free of injury and all that. I plan to do this. I exercise so that I could be doing this from 95. I don't plan to live to be 100 years old. I know a lot of people want to live 110. I've met
if
people
I'm in
that
great
age.
shape, I don't
want
mind
to
it.
be that age. But hey, I want to be a healthy guy to like 95, and I'm good with that.
I'm good with that. About 90, 95 sounds good to me.
But I want to be able to exercise the whole time.
Yeah.
And what I learned with you, Ron Jones, and the other amazing experts in that film was the value of restorative arts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these tools that we just, like the one we just did, and the Indian
Gadas,
clubs, the gadas,
yeah.
and mace, and I was supposed to have spine surgery.
That's right. We kept you off the operating
when we
table.
started that
That's
film.
great.
And
love
I was
hearing
going to chiropractor. Nothing against them. I was going there 3 times a week.
Uh-huh.
My chiropractor actually said it's time for you to see a spine surgeon.
Cool.
And instead, I learned how to use the wand in the Indian clubs, and I had worse carpal tunnel syndrome.
Jill loves the wand. By the way, I brought a couple of those over to the dojo, and she loves those.
I mean, the reality is, we can do an awful lot. In the film shows that 80% of our healthcare costs are spent on preventable illnesses.
That's right, 80%. That's shocking.
And so it looks back and it says, what if back in 1995 we all just did it correctly and we didn't incur preventable illness? Just the money that the federal government's spending on Medicare, what would that mean? Well, it meant that the national debt was going to be zero by the time that film came out. Zero. Like all $20 trillion was unnecessarily spent on preventable illnesses. And most people we talk to, they have no idea how to. This is not crazy. Buy this pill and take this supplement. None of that. We're talking about
Basics.
zero cost solutions that you can do right in your backyard.
Yeah, and predominantly body weight, like the whole movie, minus the fact that we were doing a little bit of restorative tools and gadas.
Yeah, but we made those with cement and
yeah, they're DIY, they're homemade.
Yeah, what are the sticks are from? They're the
Depot.
shovel sticks.
Yeah.
If you break your shovel, those things you buy a replacement. That and 2 screws in the bottom.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you basically stick it in a
flower pot,
put
bowl.
some cement in it, drop it in,
and off
wait
you
a
go.
day, and you're done.
Yeah.
So
it
not
doesn't,
all it costs.
again, it doesn't have to be complicated. Movement doesn't have to be complicated. Movement's not complicated. Walking is very uncomplicated, in my opinion, and it's one of the most therapeutic things on the face of the earth, in my opinion, as well. And I've come across some of the most brilliant ideas that I've ever had in my life when I was out on a 30-minute brisk walk over here at Willow Creek Park. So, I know you have to hit the road soon. Any final thoughts, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, I think grab a friend if you can and get outside. Take whatever distance you feel safe, and get some sun.
Yep.
And
barefoot, preferably.
And invite other people to do it with you, and let's change our country. Let's change our country. And also get involved in whatever school's near you and teach them what they need to do, so that the kids aren't going to be sitting in a plastic plexiglass cubicle, including lunchtime, never leaving the whole time.
Imagine.
Because you think we have a problem with mass school shootings and mental health issues and all that. That is the next thing, okay? I'm just going to call it right now.
Yeah.
That's the next thing, and the next thing you're going to be marching on, because people's mental health is really screwed up now.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse. So we can't accept just completely staying in a room and not exercise. You have to move, and we have to do it with other people.
Yeah.
So, and if you can share at least the concepts for the motivation factor, this will not fix itself in a way that it hasn't fixed itself in the last 21 major civilizations. And whether there was a dictator or it was an actual republic or democracy, people were always unified by mass movement together. There's something that happens when you get out of yourself and you're part of a group now and you're doing it with everybody else. There's just this beautiful thing that happens, and now you're part of something else. And when you're actually trying to help another person, part of your team, improve as well, and they're helping you, now you're not seeing each other by that. And you know, the niece of Martin Luther King just recently said last week, I thought it was a beautiful statement. She says, we as humans, we are one race. We were one
I think
race.
I saw that, yeah.
And I think that's that's something I've grown up believing through my religion. But there's a lot of people who don't view it that way. But you start thinking of it that way when you have that experience together.
Yeah.
And so when we look at the troubled areas of our nation, if they were to be able to experience this together, at least historically, we can demonstrate, and even currently with Prescott PE, that it would fix the problems we're having.
Totally agree, 100%. Doug, thank you so much.
All right.
And we'll fist bump it.
All right.
If any of you need to contact myself, you know where to find me. Doug, where can people find you?
DougOrchard.com.
And also, Motivation Factor, make sure to get it. You can find it at The Motivation Movie.
Motivation Movie, it's on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Vudu, Real House.
It's all over the
everywhere.
place. Find it.
Just get
Watch
on
it
to
tonight. That's what you're going to do in your quarantine tonight if you're quarantining. And stay tuned because Doug and I have some big time stuff we're working on that's coming up in the near future. So stay tuned for that as well. Till next time, everybody. Remember, get at least 8 hugs a day for 8 seconds. Pick up at least one piece of trash. Always live in the present moment. Always do at least one good deed without having any expectation of anything in return. Remember those facts. Do them every day and you'll live a happy, healthy life. Well, predominantly healthy and happy. Until next time, this is K-Rail. Peace and out. There it is.